Yeah, vai.
Ispirato da te, ho visto che assomiglia a un ragazzo. Guarda.
È vero, è vero, è vero.
E poi non sai fino alla fine se c'è la fama. Era meglio il container. Meglio il container.
1-2, 1-2. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could remind you all, please, to either switch your mobile phones off or turn them onto silent, please. Okay, we're here for round 3 of the MotoGP World Championship in 2019, the Red Bull Grand Prix of the Americas. With us today, we have Argentina race winner, World Championship leader, and the undisputed king of Austin, Marc Marquez, third in Argentina and second in the World Championship. We have Andrea Dovizioso, 9-time world champion, and back on the podium in Argentina, we have Valentino Rossi, fourth in the World Championship after a fourth in Qatar and fifth in Argentina, Alex Rins. After his first top 5 since Le Mans last year, Jack Miller is with us. And as we're in America, why not feature one of their own? Moto2 rider Joe Roberts completes the lineup today. Amy Dargan is here with us, and we'll ask the social media questions a bit later. But Mark, we'll start with you. A fantastic start to the season, off to a winning start in Argentina as well. It couldn't be better for you coming into this circuit as well with this amazing record. Of course, your first win here in 2013, and since then, 6 wins on the trot. You must be excited coming here every year.
Yeah, of course, Austin has been a really good circuit for me from 2013, but you know, every year is different. It's true that this year we arrived in a very good shape. We won in Argentina, also in Qatar. We have a solid base. This is the most important. I feel comfortable with the bike, but we will see here. I mean, we will start from FP1, try to understand like always. Don't be crazy. Don't try to do something that is not in our hands. Just try to ride like I know, and then let's see how it's going the weekend. Let's see the opponents, and let's see the weather, because it looks like also Saturday will be so-so. But part of that, try to enjoy it on this amazing circuit.
It is a unique circuit here in Texas. What is the key to a good lap, in your opinion, around here? Because nobody rides it better than you. And what parts of the circuit put a big smile on your face?
I mean, it's true that it's a circuit that to have the perfect lap is impossible. Impossible, because it's a really long lap, many corners, many hard break points, and it's so easy to have some mistake. And the most difficult is be constant all the laps, because it's a 2 minutes lap, and then many hard break points. Is so difficult. It's really bumpy, and then it's something that you need to try to change the lines every lap sometimes, and yeah, let's see. I mean, this year sure try to understand how is the asphalt too, because they say that they make some modifications, and let's see how is working the tires, all these things.
Thanks very much, Mark. Moving on now to Andrea Dovizioso. Andrea, third in Argentina. You seemed slightly disappointed with that because of the obviously losing out to second to Valentino. But you come here to Austin, not necessarily a Ducati-friendly circuit, but you've had podiums here in the past. Are you expecting a similar weekend to Argentina where you're fighting for second place, or can anyone stop the man on your left?
Well, I'm really happy about the weekend in Argentina. Our speed was really good. We didn't expect that, so I'm happy because it confirms our good base. So it will be nice if it will be like this. For sure, Mark, it showed in the past he is the king of this track. So it will be very difficult for everybody to fight with him. But anyway, we have to bring the maximum points, so we are focused on that. And you know, during the weekend, anything can happen. We have to see the tires, the condition, the weather. So I'm relaxed. We have to work like everybody, and let's see tomorrow when we put the wheels on the ground. But our base is quite good, so I expect to be more competitive than last year.
You mentioned the base setting being good in Argentina. That was evident in the results. Are there areas on this circuit that you think you can now really improve on? What parts of the circuit are you most worried about?
I think we are a bit more balanced than last year. So I think we can be better a little bit everywhere. So that's why in Argentina our speed in every practice was quite good. And I think is the reason why we can be competitive from the beginning here. I don't think we have a perfect balance to be really competitive and fight for the victory here, but you never know.
Thanks very much, Andrea. We move on now to Valentino Rossi, back on the podium in Argentina. It felt like a long wait, I'm sure, for you. How has the last week been for you? Has it felt good to look back on a race weekend where you're on the podium? Has it been a bit of a relief and maybe given you some energy to come into Austin with?
Yeah, one of the best part of make a good weekend and a podium result is the next week, because you can be happy and more relaxed. Yeah. Yes, I stay at home and try to prepare at the maximum this race. Is one of the most particular track of the season, maybe the most difficult, most technical, long. Up and down, you have 20 corners, so it's a long way to the end of the lap. In the last years was not so bad. Last year was not fantastic, but I was quite strong. But we try the maximum.
We go into Europe in a few weeks' time at circuits that we know that you absolutely love. But recently, like you say, Austin hasn't been too bad for you, and the performances have been much stronger. What is the change? Because in 2013 and 14, maybe it didn't look like a circuit that was great for yourself.
Yeah, I had in the first year I was very slow. I need a bit more time for understand the track. Yeah, but already from 2014 was not so bad. I had the problem with the front tire in the race in 2014, but I was quite fast. I take some podium. In 17, I finished second behind the Mark. So it's difficult because it's a very tricky track. You have a lot of secret, a lot of point where you can lose very much. But usually our bike is not so bad. So we try to be strong.
Thanks very much, Valentino. We now move over to Suzuki rider Alex Rins. Alex, another great fight back on the Sunday in Argentina, but once again, much like Qatar, a lot of work to do from your qualifying position. I'm sure you're hoping to rectify that, but do you feel like maybe there have been a couple of podium opportunities that have gone by there because of qualifying?
Yes, I think yes. For sure. On races, we are very strong. No, we saw in Qatar, also in Argentina. I recovered a lot of positions from P16 or P18. I don't remember very well, but I think we are on the good way. We have a good speed on the practices, good speed on race. I think we need to improve the qualifying to be on the front positions, the first laps on race, because like this you can. Other way you destroy the tire, no? Overtaking a lot of riders, but we need to think why we start very on the back, and we need to improve.
You've got a good record here in Austin. You certainly like the circuit. On the same day, Mark won his first MotoGP race. You won your first ever Grand Prix race here. And the Suzuki was good here last year with Andrea Iannone on the podium as well. So what can you change in terms of your approach on a Friday and Saturday to give you a chance of maybe another podium here?
Last year, I remember we had some problems on the front for stop the bike. Race by race during the season, we improved this feeling. Already in Argentina and in Qatar, the front feeling was very nice. And as Mark says, I think this track is difficult, no, to do all the laps on the same line. It's very hard, this track, a lot of corners. But Andrea did a great race last year, no? So I think if we qualifying better, we can be more on the front, but we will see.
Thanks very much, Alex. We now come to Jack Miller. Jack, back in the top 5. Feels like a bit of a relief after the end of 2018. A good start to the season. Obviously, Qatar didn't quite go to plan, but your pace was strong, so you must be feeling pretty confident coming into USA.
Yeah, definitely. You know, it's for sure great to be back there. As Valet said, you know, it's nice to go away from the weekend with a decent result. You know, Qatar went away almost depressed after the seat flew off, so it was definitely good to get that one out of the way. And, you know, it got difficult, like you say, at the end of last year. I think to do with being on the GP17, you know, as the other bikes are developing through the year, we were still staying where we were. So it's nice to know this year that we should be able to fight through the whole season with them. But yeah, we've shown both in Qatar and in Argentina we've got good pace. Austin's normally a track I like. I struggled a little bit here last year. I had a small injury, so looking forward to coming here 100% fit this year and yeah, see how many whoops are on the back straight.
No top 8 for you here in MotoGP, but you did win a Moto3 race. You've just said yourself you like the circuit a lot. Do you think that it will be different this year based on the fact that you're on a 2019 bike?
Yeah, definitely. Just to do with the racing. I know when I come onto a straight, I'm not losing meters. I don't have to brake like an idiot and cook the front tyre, so that helps. And yeah, I think we've got really good pace. You know, I feel I've matured as a rider in the practices and whatnot. We're doing a lot of work, a lot of testing for the race simulation. So I think we just need to keep that mentality and keep on working.
Thanks very much, Jack. Finally, we come to at the far end, and Joe Roberts, Moto2 rider, the only American in the Grand Prix racing paddock. Joe, I'm sure you're really, really up for this weekend. How has the start of the season gone with the American racing team?
Yeah, it's pretty fantastic to be here. You know, I always love coming to Austin. It's even before I was racing in the world level, it was one of my favorite cities to visit, and just to be here with all the fans and everything, it's always such a nice feeling. So as far as the year's gone, I mean, to be honest, it's been a little bit of a difficult start. It's not exactly where I hoped I would start in Qatar, but you know what? We made a lot of progress in the last round, and even though on the timesheets you couldn't really see it, I was, during the race, on for my best kind of gap to the front before I crashed. So, you know, with the new team and people working on the team, they're new, and you know, sometimes it takes time and you got to look at the positives and take that forward, you know. And I think this weekend, this track is quite a hard-braking track, and something that I took from last weekend is that we're really good on the brakes. So I'm hoping that's going to work here, you know. But I'm really positive about this weekend. I've always loved this track, so I'm excited.
You've always loved bikes, as most motorcycle racers do. You're up here today with the elite of the elite in MotoGP. How does it feel? Is there anyone here that perhaps you followed as a kid?
What, these guys? Man, yeah. I mean, honestly, every single one of these guys here have given me some sort of inspiration during my career, you know? So to be up here with them is definitely something special. And yeah, I'm really, I mean, obviously, yeah, it's great.
Thanks very much, Joe, and the best of luck this weekend. That is it from me, ladies and gentlemen. Floor questions, please.
Hello, it's a question for Dobby, Vale and Rins. Do you think that it's only possible to beat Marquez here in this track if he has some problem the Sunday or if he does any mistake? Is the only possibility to beat him or maybe other possibility to win?
I think it will be very, very difficult, but nothing is impossible.
Yeah, I think nothing is impossible, no? Here on the motorcycling races. For sure, he have a good speed here in Austin, but I think everybody will try to go fast, to push at the limit to beat him.
Yes, so the numbers until this moment said that Mark is unbeatable because he win always. But it's normal that you don't start from home saying it's impossible to beat. You always try the way to improve and try to be stronger and try to arrive in front.
Mark, you worked really hard over the winter after your shoulder surgery, and so far things are looking really, really good, that you're strong and fit. But this track is very, very physically demanding, especially from turn 2 through to turn 10. Are you worried about that? Does it go through your mind at all, or do you think it shouldn't be a problem for 20-odd laps?
Yeah, it's true that this track is one of the most difficult tracks about physical condition, and but I feel fit. The thing is that on the heartbreak points, still sometimes I feel something on the shoulder, but I think will be not a big problem. In Argentina, for example, I felt, but it was not a problem to ride. I mean, this after 2 weeks, I was just a little bit. I was training, but in another way to try to prepare this GP. And I feel much better in the shoulder. I feel a big improvement after Argentina. And that, like I say in Argentina, was not a problem to ride the bike, but you feel something. But now I feel 100% nearly a normal shoulder, so this is the most important, and for racing will be not a problem.
Joe, you've raced Kalex, NTS, and now the KTM chassis. Can you briefly describe the differences between those chassis and then also the transition from the 4-cylinder Honda to the 3-cylinder Triumph?
Yeah, I mean, the Kalex I only had 1 season on, and I think that bike is overall pretty easy to set up because you have so many people around, so many other riders riding the same chassis. So you have a lot of things to compare to. Last year was a challenge, you know, it was just me and Steven riding the bike, so there was tracks we showed up, we didn't have any data. But overall, we had a lot of positive things with that bike, and now with the KTM, it's, yeah, a lot different. It's different because you have the new engine, you know, that's something I feel that I'm adjusting to, and there's things with my style that's the kind of thing I'm looking at right now compared to with my teammate, who I think has kind of figured out that KTM really well. So yeah, just trying to figure out that kind of aspect with the style. But I don't know, it's hard to really say. The Moto2s are pretty similar in a lot of ways, you know, from each bike to each bike.
Question to Mark, right here. You're a very smiling person, and here in America you see a lot of people smiling, you feel a lot of energy. You've been winning here ever since you started your Moto2 career here. Do you feel a bit like an American guy sometimes?
Yeah, of course. In USA, normally I feel good, but it's more from the circuits. I mean, are on the left side and left corners, like I always say, are suiting better for my riding style. But of course, the atmosphere is great. I'm already an American guy. I mean, I was in basketball, supercross, baseball, all these sports. But part of that, I don't know why. I feel good, but it's more about the layout of the tracks. I mean, our defense are on the left side, so left hand. So we will see if this year we can continue. But we need to understand if for some reason it's impossible, because like the other guys say, everything can happen on the motorbike's wall, and this is the nicest thing of this sport. If something happens, we need to understand and take points for the championship.
Question for Mark and then for Dovi and Miller. Mark, what this new design of your helmet means, and for Dovi and Miller, Petrucci said before that Ducati is not very good on the pumps, especially on the long right-handers before the 19. Do you agree with this, and why Ducati is not good in this place?
So yeah, about the new helmet, new design. I already used a special design last year and 2 years ago, and yeah, we tried to understand the kind of track. Is like many bumps, is really bumpy, many change direction. It's like kind of rodeo. And then with Dave Design, my designer, we start to think. And here in Texas, it's so typical that, for example, when you go in a house, is the old wood with the paint, and we try to simulate that. I think it becomes very very nice. So yeah, I'm excited to bring this helmet in the top of the podium.
About what Danilo says, I mean, what we can say is what we feel on the bike. We don't feel so good in that part of the track, but it's difficult to know if it's the same with the other bikes. So this is one of the parts we are struggling, but I don't know if is the point where we really lose in this track, but I think and I expect to be more competitive this year. So I'm not focused on that, and we will see tomorrow in the free practice where will be our level.
I think they feel good on this thing. Feel good everywhere. Bike works good everywhere. I can't complain too much. The bumps, I think it also depends on your riding style. If you're over the front a little more or more towards the back, of course it's going to change the balance for the bumps and how you absorb them. So for me, I don't really have a problem. And I feel especially great on the straight, especially when there's a Suzuki in front of me.
Yes, I have a question for Andrea, Mark and Valentino. I would like to know your opinion about what happened with Cal, the penalty he got in Argentina. Do you think something has to be reviewed? Are you talking about this in the Safety Commission?
Well, it's difficult. It's difficult. It will be funny, the Safety Commission tomorrow for sure. And it will be important to speak about that because the rules is clear. I think Cal didn't gain anything, what he did. But he moved a little bit when the race started. So I think we can think about, we can speak about that. We have to try to understand if exists another way to manage this situation. I mean, it was clear Cal didn't gain anything about that, and it didn't do that on purpose. But the rules say if you move, you make a mistake. So I think it's very hard to accept that. If I was Cal, I can understand how angry it is, but for sure we have to speak in the Safety Commission if we can, because if you have to interpret it, every start is difficult. I think that's why they decide to have that rules, but it's bad to lose a race like this, really bad, especially when your pace is good.
I'm completely agree with Andrea. I mean, of course, Cal didn't gain anything, but the rules say that if you move the bike, even on the opposite way, you will be penalized. So it's the best way to have a solid rule, because if not, always will be, yeah, but he gained nothing. I mean, for me, it's hard to lose. It's hard to have a race through like this and lose a race, but it's the best way to have one rule and don't have the polemic later.
Yes, I agree, because for me the only way for have a clear rule is that you cannot move the moment before the start, because if you start to speak about you gain something or how much you can move, after become very difficult. I see one camera really on the wheel of Cal. I never seen before this camera. So, but maybe have also before. For sure, they are very strict, and Cal doesn't gain nothing. But if you see that camera, you see that he move a little bit. And after, I think that we can speak tomorrow about the penalty, no? Because Cal after the race said that the penalty, if you make the pass in the pit, you lose 35 seconds, so it's over. Maybe you can think to do a long lap, I don't know. But the rule is that you cannot move, so it's like this.
It's a question for Joe Roberts. Somebody told you in the past that your, no sé, do you remember me? You remember me a little bit, Nicky Hayden, your face, like a kid. And I don't know if somebody tells you this in sometimes. And what is the meaning of Nicky Hayden for you, especially in this weekend?
I've never been told I look like Nicky, but that's the first. But Nicky was, one of my greatest heroes growing up. You know, somebody I looked up to. In the first race I went to was when he won in 2005 at Laguna Seca. It was the first one, so really it was like the biggest inspiration to be a motorcycle racer was him. So yeah, for sure was one of my biggest idols. And yeah, you know, I got to ride with Nicky at a flat track, I think a couple of years ago, so that was really special for me too.
For the MotoGP guys, they made more improvements to the track this year. I heard you guys talking about the bumps. Did you notice much of a difference last year, and are you pleased with the efforts that they are making to make things a little bit better around the track for you guys?
Yeah, but I check a little bit, and I know that they did a few modifications. They don't did what we asked on the safety commission, but we will see what when we will in FP1 we will see what is going on the track, how is. But of course, you know, this track is quite bumpy, one of the most difficult tracks in this aspect of the calendar, and sometimes it's, you know, it's disappointed because it's one of the best layouts. So yeah, we hope that they did a great job, but tomorrow we will see.
Still, I didn't make the lap. I will do later to see the difference. I'm worried it's not possible to really fix the problem exist on the track, and that is very bad because I think it's one of the most beautiful track in our championship. So I think the situation is quite not nice. I mean, it's not nice to manage this. The problem is that there is a bump everywhere, and with the bike it's very difficult to ride, not just to be fast. So it's very, very difficult, and looks like the asphalt or the dirt under the asphalt move almost everywhere. So it's difficult to fix if you don't make a completely new reparation, I think.
Yes, they say this layout is incredible. The unique negative thing is the bumps. No, last year they tried to fix. They tried to do something, and they don't do a good thing on the straight. It was full of rocks, no? Dust. Full of dust. Yeah. We hope this year this dust disappear. No, because it was a little bit dangerous when you go close to someone. But I don't check the track yet. Yeah.
Yes, it's a great shame because the track is fantastic, but and is also quite new. So this track suffer a lot about bumps problem, maybe from something happened from below, and it's a problem because in 3 or 4 parts are very, very big. So we have to see. I don't check the track yet, because in the last years they try to do something for the bumps, but unfortunately they don't improve. But it's like this. We have to check, maybe, and we hope that tomorrow is better.
Yeah, the same. The track itself, you know, the first year, like Valet says, it's not that old. We go to many other tracks on the calendar with a lot more years on them, and they're not that bumpy. I think it's got to definitely be to do with something with the ground around here. It looks like it's a lot of clay, and if I remember correctly, directly after the first year we were here, they had a lot of rain, which can cause it to move. But yeah, the track was bumpy, especially back straight last year or the year before. And then last year they ground it down and the bumps actually became bigger and longer, let's say. So I'm interested to see the work that they've done this year, if it's an improvement or it's just trying to patch another job and it's not that great.
A question for you, Jack. Last year you were here with the GP17, this year you're here with the GP19. We heard about the difficulty with the Ducati around here. What's the biggest improvement from the GP19 to the GP17 that you think will make it easier to race around here?
The big thing between my legs, the engine, that's a lot better. The rest is it's you know, a lot of different things. It's better on the tires. It's an improvement. You know, it's 2 years newer, so everything else is working pretty good. But definitely the engine.
Mark, let's say hypothetically you have a very bad qualifying session and you're qualified on the last row. Could you win this race from the last row? Hand on a Bible.
Can we try it anyway?
Yes or no? Could you win from the back row?
No, I don't want to try. So already last year I has been penalized and I start from the second row, but it was not a big problem. But we will see. I hope to have the same shape like last year and the others far away. But you never know. I mean, maybe this year can be these guys, Valentino, Andrea, Viñales, but will be difficult. So we will try to do a solid weekend like we did in Argentina. Try to be focused and try to have the perfect way and the perfect steps during all and fight for the pole position and fight for the race. But thank you for the appreciation.
So it's yes, right? Yes?
No, it's not yes. I say I don't want to try.
Question for you, Valentino. We saw after Argentina that you were training with a mini bike in Italy, and I wanted to know whether that style of training has any particular benefit for this track, and if so, how does it help for this track here, Texas?
Yeah, sometimes we train with the small bikes. Is two strokes 85 is RMU is Italian factory that they do. It's like a mini GP, something like this. But yeah, we train in one track that is a little bit similar than Austin is in Forlì, and is a lot of up and down, but it's not a particular training for year. Is that because we always try to do something different, and I think it's a good training. We enjoy, and it was good, but was not particularly for Austin.
Another one for you, Valentino, right here. Also about training. You're 40 years old and you're growing older, but you keep improving because you've just beating your racetrack record at the ranch. How did you do it, and how does it translate to the racetrack here?
I hope, but I don't know. Depends very much. In our track, depends very much from the condition, because the track change very much, and sometimes the perfect condition is when rain 2 days before, like on Thursday, and after on Friday remain not a lot of sun, not so remain like cloudy. And on Saturday, usually the material that we have on the top have another color and another grip. So you have 3-4 days during a year where you have the perfect condition, and it was good because we always when you understand that is the right days, everybody try with the time attack for improve the lap time, and was a good battle, especially with Balda. But at the end I was faster, so it means that maybe I am in a good shape, but I don't know if will be the same during the week, and we will try.
Yes, Vale, Mark, the other day in Argentina, after the race and before the podium, was nice to see shake hands between you. How was this moment and why this time, yes, and if it's possible more times?
No, I mean because was a moment, you know, when you give a kiss to the girl, same in the moment. So was there the moment, and we were alone, and and we shake the hands in the podium. It was a nice race. So I never had a problem. So it's no problem to have a respect relationship.
Yeah, it was the right moment. I make my congratulations because he did a very fast weekend, very fast race. So I think that it is normal. Yes.
Valentino, your qualifying isn't great. When you have a bad qualifying session, do you still lose sleep about it? Because the race is usually so good, you find a way to go to the front. When you see the bad grid position, do you think, oh no, or what do you think?
I don't understand very well. Allora, usually in the qualifying, I'm not very strong. You said,
right?
Yes.
Does that affect you, or do you think
is something that I have more or less in all my career. Usually, I am stronger in the race than in the qualifying, and depends from a different factor. Maybe anyway, the most important thing is the race, no? And is another approach mentally because it's long. You have to ride in another way, and usually in the lap you have to be 100% concentrate and try to squeeze the bike and the tire at the maximum. And usually we are all very close. So if you don't make the perfect lap, you are not in the front rows. But it's very important start minimum in the first 6 position, because you are already with the top group. If you make a good start, you can be in the top 4 or 5. So it's another style of race. If you start behind, is more difficult. But anyway, if you have a good pace, usually the race is long, so you can recover. But for sure, is more important start in front.
Okay, that's it from the floor. Over to you, Amy.
So, as I'm sure you are all aware, tomorrow the number 69 will be retired in a special ceremony to commemorate Nicky Hayden. So our social media question today comes from It's Not Luciac on Instagram, and they would like to know, what is your favourite memory of Nicky? So Mark, should we start with you first?
I have 2 special moments. One was 2008 in the team presentation of a Repsol team. I was 15 years old, and yeah, he bring the birthday cake. So it was really nice. And the other one, and this is the last one, we share was 2017, 2016, which in Australia. We share a box because Danny was injured. 16. And we did a party after the race, and it was a really nice party because he was singing on the stage with his girlfriend, and we were singing together also, and yeah, it was the best memory.
Thank you for sharing. Andrea, we'll come to you next, please.
Yeah, when I met Nicky at the beginning of my career in the World Championship, because I was in Honda, so I had a lot of moments with Nicky when I was very young, when I raced in 125, 250, because sometimes we have to be in Motegi during the winter, all the rider from HRC, and also the years we did in Ducati. I mean, I spent some time with him, and it was always nice and spend the time with him. One funny moment, it was in that event in Japan. We took a taxi together, me, my manager, and him. He stayed on front, and he was pushing a lot the taxi driver, because you know the taxi driver in Motegi are so slow with the white gloves, and it was so funny. And he was pushing a lot to be a little bit faster, because it took more than 3 hours to arrive in the airport, and it was funny. Also, in the way he play, it was always really nice. American style, but really relaxed, and it was nice to spend the time with him.
Thank you. Valentino?
Yeah, I also have a lot of memories of Nicky. And I remember very well when I saw him for the first time, and there was also us. We were in Tokyo, and because in 2003 I was in the Honda Repsol team, and he arrived from America, and he was my teammate. So I remember that we waiting for him in the Tokyo station. I was with Ucho and with some Japanese from Honda, and he arrived in. Really in American style, you know, and he's like he coming from another planet, you know. And after we take a train, and because we use the train for move around Japan, and Nicky started to ask a lot of things. Said first of all, he speak in American, very close, so difficult to understand for me. Make a lot of questions. He say why we go with the train, how long we and how long is the day. And I said, Nicky, one advice: don't make a lot of questions and hope that finish as soon as possible. And he was agree with me. This was the first time. Yes.
Thank you, Alex.
I had one very good memory with him in 2012 when I did my first pole position. Was also my first year in the World Championship in Moto3 in Jerez. I was on the press conference and he was sitting behind me, and he was laughing a lot with my English because it was very bad. Now I improve a little bit, but he was, I don't know, I improve.
Yes, you did.
Okay.
Sorry. Yes.
So it was very funny.
Thank you. Jack?
I have a few, but I think the best one would be when I first came in the paddock, maybe in 2014 especially. You know, in Moto3 you don't really have anywhere to go and sit in the paddock, and Nicky and Colin, the Americans, would always have their door open for me and allow me to come in and hang out with them, which I thought was, you know, pretty cool. So no, he was just always open, friendly guy, and always a joy to be around.
Thank you. And finally, Joe?
Yeah, I think for me the greatest memory I've had with Nicky is the day I went and rode flat track with him. I showed up to like a private test day for some pro flat track racers and saw that he was there, and I was so stoked about it because I've always wanted to ride flat track with him, you know, seeing them at the house in Kentucky. And yeah, it was such an awesome experience that I always remember, that I got to spin some laps with him around the track. And really, I remember one time, I think I was riding and I just kept getting terrible arm pump, and he just kept doing laps, and I stopped in the middle, and he pulled up next to me. He's like, "What's going on with your arms? You can't hold on anymore?" or something like that. So yeah, great memory there.
Thank you so much for sharing all of your memories, guys.
That concludes the press conference. Best of luck to all of you guys. If we could ask you please to stand for the photo.
Guys, please.